Hi, I'm Peter Birch, and in this week's show we're going to take a closer look at this beautiful species of lizard, the Australian blue-tongued skink, an absolutely amazing, gorgeous animal. And luckily enough, we're going to see Australia's best breeder of these beautiful creatures, Joe Ball. Welcome to CrittaCam. The Australian blue-tongued lizard is one of the most commonly found animals and mostly inhabits people's gardens. These things are snail-eating machines. They are just absolutely gorgeous animals. Let's find Joe and learn some more about these beautiful creatures. This week's question of the week: how many species of blue-tongued skinks exist within Australia? Is it 6, 9 or 5? Leave a comment below and hang around till the end of the show. Okay, Joe, you're here in your outdoor enclosures. I mean, you've got these cages scattered everywhere, and to tell you what, they're quite a unique design. Can you tell us a little bit about these enclosures?
Okay, so these things haven't come about by chance. There's a little bit of thought process that went into them, and I in fact designed them, and there's sort of 4 or 5 key points that I wanted to capture and that I thought would enable me to keep these guys outdoors all year round and enable them to live happily, get access to the sun and breed.
So basically with the blue tongues, you're saying that moisture is more of an issue than the cold?
Absolutely, and that comes from 2 angles. Heat and moisture will adversely affect blue tongues, just the same as cold and moisture will adversely affect blue tongues.
Okay, then.
And the cage design here is such to prevent against that.
Yep.
They're lifted off the ground, you've got drainage at the very front,
Yep.
and also we've got a cover to protect us from deluge.
Yep. So like I noticed you've got this nice big basking area they can come out and bask, and like you said, if you do get caught with a bit of rain, there's some really good drainage. And then I noticed there's a hole in the back of the box.
Okay, so yeah, we've got a hole here for the guys to, once they've had that little bit of sun in the morning, they can actually thermoregulate and get back here where the temperature's more consistent.
Okay.
They can go and lay down in this hay at the back here and come out and pick off the sun as they see fit.
Okay. With that back area,
Yeah.
so with this back area, I guess the whole idea of it being enclosed and warm would be very similar if the blue tongue found shelter in the bush, like in a hollow log or under a
Yeah,
log or
absolutely.
something like that.
Yeah, I mean you often see these guys in drainage pipes, in hollow logs, underneath disused railway sleepers, that kind of thing. So what I'm trying to imitate there is exactly that.
So basically this area here stays nice, dry. And relatively warm compared to the
Confined, fairly dry, so they feel safe, and you know, whenever there's a bird flies over or you know they feel a little bit exposed, they can just dart back in there. Yeah. The other key thing, which anybody who's kept reptiles outdoors in Australia will find, is it's always difficult to get them in the right spot because the sun, as we all know, or you may or may not know, rises in the east and sets in the west, and then sits lower in the northern sky in the winter.
Yep.
So it's difficult to get that sun onto the animals all year round. So what I did with these guys was put a heavy-duty fly screen on the side.
Okay. Yep.
Firstly, I used fly screen because I didn't want to use the open wire because I didn't want the animals to rub their nose.
Yep.
But I needed to get sun access from the side because that low elevation sun in the winter is going to come in from an angle.
Yep.
And if you've only got access from the top, they ain't going to get it. So this fly screen was purposed to suit that need.
And I guess once you've built your prototype and
That's
used
right.
it and it worked, I mean
Been
the
able
rest
to replicate it.
the rest we can see is like, you know, it's amazing to see such individual little units. Basically, it's like a block of townhouses.
That's exactly right, and I think for me, you know you've got it right when you come out in the morning and every single animal is all behaving in the same way. You know, for instance, this morning we came out and you've got a male in every single cage just basking in the sun.
I mean, unfortunately, the weather's turned against us and it's starting to shower. So, what would you do in this situation?
Right, in this situation, we literally, again, I don't want these guys to get wet, so
Yep.
we've got tarpaulins.
Yep.
And we're going straight over, straight over the top. Obviously, these things are drained, so they can withstand a little shower, but in times of deluge, be it sun deluge or rain deluge, I want to give these guys a little bit extra protection. So these tarps are sun reflecting as well as waterproof.
Awesome. I guess, Joe, we get a lot of questions from our audience about the right way to keep blue tongues in an indoor situation. I was just wondering if you could run us down on how you actually do it and probably point out the pros and the cons of doing it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the same. Via my website, I must get 2-3 requests every week to talk me through how I keep blue tongues indoors. So now would be a chance to maybe answer that question.
Perfect situation for us to
Perfectly.
show.
So, yeah.
So I noticed you use a lot of tubs. It's probably something that most people wouldn't think would work for blue tongues, but obviously it's working for you.
Yeah, often a husbandry situation that's associated with python keeping. But yeah, it is in fact perfect for blue tongues.
Okay.
There is a lot of sort of preconceived ideas out there about keeping blue tongues, i.e. they smell, they make a mess of their enclosure, they're difficult to keep. Oh, I don't want to keep them because of this and that, you know. Well, in fact, keeping blue tongues can be very simple, and this system here will allay all those questions, and I reckon make the most exciting critters in my mind the easiest critters to keep. So let's get to it.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things you said straight away, as soon as you walk in a room, and I mean you've got quite a few blue tongues inside here. I mean, I noticed that there really is no odour.
Like
I mean,
a fresh summer
oh,
breeze.
it's magnificent. It's a welcome change. So you got to show me some of your secrets. So let's have a look.
Okay. So what we're going to do, we'll get a tub and we'll set it up from start to finish.
Okay.
So there's only 5 or 6 key components, which are all very simple. So firstly, we've got our old friend newspaper.
Yep.
So what I do here is I get sort of a nice good layer of newspaper, sort of 3 or 4 sheets deep from front to back in these tubs. Okay, so that acts nicely as a bit of a sponge, if you like, to soak up any urine, excreta, that kind of stuff, and can also act as a bit of a hide for the animals to get under. We then go over the top with a substrate which I believe to be perfect for a blue. Now this is straightforward lucerne hay.
And I mean, with the lucerne, it's got that.
It's got a
like
nice
a sweet smell, hasn't it?
aromatic smell to it, which is going to hold back any subsequent smells. It's got a good depth to it, so the animal can get in, burrow, as it would in the wild if you find some vegetation to get down into the bottom of and hide. It also echoes my key point with keeping blue tongues, and that is keeping these things very dry, because obviously in a tub situation you can get rises in humidity which are difficult to manage. So in here, if you have a water spillage or something like that, with this lucerne hay and the newspaper, that's controlled. You know, you're still going to have a dry environment, which it's going to remain so until the keeper can get back and rectify. So yeah, secondly, we've got lucerne hay.
Yep.
Then over the top of that, and some of this is subjective, you know, but this is me.
Yep.
I'll then put a hide in there. So you're now starting to give the animal a variety of different levels of environmental enrichment. That's exactly right. So you've got your newspaper, you can get under there, or you can get into his lucerne hay, you can get into that, or finally we can get into the hide here. Yep. So the animal's got choice, which I always think is key for any animal.
Definitely.
And then so yeah, we've got all the substrate, we've got everything to keep the animal happy. So now we're going to get on to how we would feed and water these guys. So food bowl.
And I guess, you know, food is one of those things, you know, like I said before, you know, back in the older school, I guess, of keeping, we used to feed them the wet cat and dog foods and stuff like that. And obviously, you know, when it's wet, it becomes messy and it becomes
that's
quite
right.
smelly.
The animal paddles through it, paddles it all at the sides of the enclosure. And then, of course, excreta again is going to be something that's going to be messy, so on and so forth. So This, on top of what we've already gone through, is the final piece in the jigsaw that enables you to keep these guys very, very clean and manageable. So
Okay.
I'm going to talk through food. So I've got two things here. These are dried foods, they're complete diet foods, and they're exactly that, they're a complete diet, and I believe these give your animal absolutely everything that they need in every single mouthful. So firstly, I've got a dried cat food here, which when you look at the nutrient analysis on the back, it covers absolutely everything that your animal will need, even to the point of actually having D3. So that's something that blue tongues usually get from UV. You know, they utilise UV to create D3 effectively, and this is already there in the diet, already ready to go in a format that the animal can metabolise in every mouthful. Then on top of that, I go in with something that's actually formulated specifically for blue tongues, and the reason I use this is because it's got mutton bird oil in it, and that has a very strong sort of smell to it, and that really gets the animals interested. So I tend to go over the top with a little bit of that. Once you've got the animal eating that, you've got a complete diet in every single mouthful, and the health of the animal will rocket from there.
Okay. I mean, most people would think that a blue tongue would need a shallow, low bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't really have long legs, they don't really run around, they sort of slither around almost. And to have this nice deep bowl of water to complement that dry food, obviously is working.
Yeah, absolutely. And blue tongues are big drinkers.
Yeah.
You know, some reptiles you may have observed, certain pythons or other lizards, and you very rarely see them drink, and when they do, they seem to only literally just wet the whistle, so to speak. But blue tongues actually full on sit on these bowls and get into their drink, and they will drink up to half that bowl in one sitting. So I make sure that water's fresh constantly.
Nice. This week's question of the week: how many species of blue tongue skinks exist within Australia? The answer to this week's question is A. If you pick 6, you're correct. Good job. Look at the palette of colours that they've got to work with, these blue tongues. You can see that these things are absolutely amazing, and what beautiful faces. The future is looking absolutely amazing for these things. Just as Jennifer and I would like to say, thanks for watching. Please leave a comment below. Hit me up on Facebook and Twitter. You've been watching CrittaCam.